Good evening and welcome to NAZ Today. I'm Emani Payne.
Protesters are gathered outside in the rain today after a grand jury decided not to indict police officer Darren Wilson following his shooting and killing of unarmed black teenager Michael Brown.
Your first line of defense against bike theft is purchasing a quality lock and using it whenever you leave your ride unattended. A wanted sex offender from Ohio has been arrested right here in Flagstaff. So let's put this canine skills to the test. What I'm holding in my hand is a gauze that has a narcotic odor on it, and what I'm gonna do is plant it in the front of this truck here and see if our canine friend can find it. For these inmates, chopping wood isn't just about the hard work. It allows them the chance to give back and reintegrate into the community. Our top story tonight, after a 2-month-long chase involving several law enforcement organizations, prison escapee Wade Dickinson has been captured. Breaking news around the nation tonight, the first case of Ebola virus has been diagnosed in the United States.
Same-sex couples are celebrating here in Flagstaff today as a federal judge ruled Arizona's gay marriage ban unconstitutional. Now, there is a lengthy process behind counting ballots, and while Election Day has already passed, these ballots here won't be accounted for until early next week. Now, new this morning, a night out takes a dangerous turn. Now, one man is hospitalized and the search is on for the suspects involved in a shooting. No one was injured in the shooting, but police did find 5 bullet holes in the vehicle of a 22-year-old resident of the apartment complex. The increase in sales can be attributed to many different things, but for some people, they just want to live downtown again and in a high-rise.
Detectives say when they visited Levin's home, they found tons of child pornographic evidence on about 700 VHS tapes, hundreds of DVDs and pictures, and over 80,000 images on his computer. That's enough evidence to fill 2 truckloads. An NAU football player is behind bars in Minnesota tonight. Right now, the search is on for a man who shot and killed a father of 4 last week.
However, I had the opportunity to speak with members of this group, and they say unfortunately this isn't the case, and President Obama has not upheld his end of the bargain.
This local horse trainer shows how old-age horsemanship techniques are best when integrating wild horses into the human world. The 2 South Texas boys were together on the Gaza border Saturday afternoon when they took this selfie. Approximately 6 hours later, Sean was dead. Our furry friend King Louie here isn't new to doggy competitions. For this champ, the contest should be a walk in the park. At least 119 Palestinians were killed. Well, you know, Bonnie, Ebola has already killed hundreds of people in Liberia, so man faced a heightened risk of contracting it and bringing it back here to Arizona by just traveling there. Now, earlier he talked to me via Skype about how he's doing and the steps he's now taking to keep himself, his family, and his community protected. This is Alan Mann.
I think that the chance is very, very, very small that I have it or am carrying it.
And for the next 8 days, he will be cut off from the rest of the world, placing himself and his family on a self-imposed quarantine for fear of possibly being exposed to the deadly Ebola virus.
So we've done everything we can to keep it from coming into, I think, the U.S. as well as our home.
Through missionary work, man traveled to Liberia to spread the word of the Lord. But because there have been many Ebola outbreaks in Liberia, he says he took extra precaution to stay safe.
Didn't touch anyone. If I even rubbed arms with someone, I immediately sprayed my arm and wiped it off. Constantly cleaned my hands, my clothes, parts of my body that may have contacted anyone. The place I slept, the restroom that I used was constantly wiped down.
He even took it a step further, notifying his neighbors of his trip and the quarantine in his home to follow. Some neighbors were outraged and fearful for their life.
Kind of scary. I mean, there's no cure for it or anything, and it's not in Texas. It's less than 100 feet away.
Stuck inside of his Payson home, no visitors allowed, man and his family have found ways to keep busy.
We've passed every level on Mario Kart Wii. We can pretty much beat everything and each other on those games. We've played in the backyard. We've put puzzles together. We've played board games. We've read together. It has not been a terrible time. It's actually been good. I don't get to spend as much time with my kids, so it's been good for me.
As for what he plans to do once these final 8 days are up,
I think maybe we'll just take a drive just to get out of here for a while.
Now, aside from that drive, once Alan's 21-day quarantine is over, which will be the evening of October 17th, he does plan to meet with the doctor in person for one final checkup. Emani Payne in AZ Today. For the Coconino County Sheriff's Department, most cars only consist of one officer. But once in a while, they get a little bit of backup. This is Kiko, one of the 2 canine officers with the Coconino County Sheriff's Office. Today, they participated in a demonstration for a class on NAU's campus.
You know, I actually love watching the students get excited about something and energized. So we're hoping that, students will see this kind of activity and be really passionate about protecting the people.
They also learn a little bit more about police dogs, where they come from, and that they're not as scary as you might think.
And so it's more of an educational experience for everybody because they feel like, oh, well, it's a police dog, you got to back up, you got to be scared of it. But in reality, he's actually a great dog.
Police dogs are raised and trained to be obedient to their partner's commands. And when they come to the sheriff's office, they receive more specialized training. But it's not just attacking. Their extraordinary senses help with locating illegal drugs.
So let's put this canine skills to the test. What I'm holding in my hand is a gauze that has a narcotic odor on it, and what I'm going to do is plant it in the front of this truck here and see if our canine friend can find it.
Boy.
Sometimes even just seeing that an officer has some canine backup will deter criminals.
I'm by myself. Backup comes from a long ways away, so having a dog there really changes the way people will interact with me.
Most people gave up as soon as you heard him bark.
But when they're not working, these dogs are just another member of the family.
He's my best friend, and he's my partner.
Emani Payne, NAZ Today.